There we are, chitting and the chatting and the chatting and the chitting and the whatnot.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, everyone. Let me see. Let me keep refreshing until we show up. There we go. Hello. How are you all doing?
Hey, everybody.
From Ghost Hunting Land. Welcome. All right, I'm going to point in the right direction.
I was going to say, let's see if Adrian can point in the right direction.
I can't never do it.
I can already tell him to fuck it up.
Look, I'll just say my name, Susan. You just point, and then we'll say our name.
Susan.
To my right is the amazing Ghost Hunter or Ghostbuster, the original Ghostbuster #1, Susan Lynn, Psychic Medium. Below to the other quadrant, there we go, is our favorite Jen Lynn, Psychic Medium, and below is our favorite Canadian, Shay from Blissful Divination. I did it a minute ago. It was a lot of mental energy to.
You've been practicing.
Artie Ghost Hunter.
And we're joined by Artie, Ghost Hunter Kitty extraordinaire. Guys, we're back by popular demand and by request. Ghostbusters. Hello. Ghost Stories Part 4. 4 different languages. Cuatro. Unda, I don't know, but number 4. We are here. Tonight we're just gonna have fun. You guys tell us your stories. So we're gonna start off how we typically do. There's a couple things I want to hear. I'm gonna ask Jen a couple more questions about Penn State Penitentiary, right, Jen?
Yeah, Eastern State Penitentiary.
Eastern State Penitentiary. I need to hear about Susan Lynn's little dog, and he's not a wolf and human person, a live form dog. I need to hear about this little spirit dog. Shay apparently would let the spirit hit her and would transmute into a different person when she first started tapping into her mediumship gifts. So we're gonna talk about all of that. Then we want to hear from you guys. Start getting your stories ready in the chat. What we're going to do is we're going to start picking out some stories and experiences. We're going to read what you guys throw in the chat, have some conversation, talk about it. So if you want to share an experience or if you have a question, start getting ready in the chat. Let us know because we are going to talk about it. All right. So I've got a question. I'm going to start with Jen Lynn. Just go oh, hell. Yeah.
I'll point to myself, okay?
Yeah.
So, Jen, Eastern State Penitentiary. Have you been multiple times?
Yes.
Tell me about the first time. Tell us about the first time you went. What were you expecting and what happened?
I'd seen it on a lot of ghost hunting shows and everything, and I was very drawn to it and wanted to go. I went with a lady friend of mine who was the only one that would go with me. Everybody else was like, oh, hell no. I walked in and there was this little platform area outside the building, like you were looking at the building. And it was station 1 if you were doing the audio tour. I wasn't doing the audio tour, but I stopped there and I was taking some pictures. I turned my camera on, they drained the battery, and boom, there went the camera. I had spare batteries with me, the rechargeable batteries. I take another one out, I pop it in, I turn the camera on, I get ready to take the picture. Boom, they drain the batteries. I'm like, all right, y'all stop messing with me right off the bat or I get no photos of you. Right. So I popped my third battery in. I had 5 with me. I popped my third one in and they let me take a picture. So right off the bat, they were making their presence known and draining those batteries immediately. I found, when you watch the ghost hunting shows, you see Al Capone's old cell. You see it's the oldest penitentiary in the U.S. and it's the first penitentiary where it's got a central tower and spokes with all the cells off of it coming off the central tower. So it's like a wagon wheel, if you think of it that way, with halls. So they could stand in the central towers and look down the long halls, where the cells were to monitor it. All I had seen were the male population cells. I found the women's cell block, one of the most haunted ones in there. And the women, like, it opened in 1801, I believe, 1800, 1800, like it's really old. A lot of the women I found as I was communicating with them in spirit, they were put there over petty crimes, like husband died, they stole a loaf of bread to feed the kids, and bam, they end up in jail. Like petty, stupid crap that we would not hopefully imprison somebody for today. Although stuff happens, right? The women's block, it was really interesting. Like there were more earthbound energies there. There were more, they had been abused, while serving time. So whether they were sexually molested or like, I picked up on one woman that the warden and his wife in their house there, they used to use the women to work as servants when they had parties and stuff. And she would like go and like serve food in the warden's house and stuff like that. So they got free maid service and free catering service or whatever from the women that were there. The women were a lot less violent, but it was a lot more emotional to them. So the spirits were quite upset. I work with crossing over spirits when I go places like that. If they want to cross over, I'll try to cross them over. But I had one male energy that did follow me home from there, but I gave him permission to do it. He wanted to cross over, but it's like he wouldn't do it there. So he followed me home. That's one of the few times I've ever had an energy follow me home, but I gave him permission. I'm like, come home with me. I'll cross you over at home.
Wow.
But it was really fascinating. Al Capone, his cell, he was supposedly haunted by somebody that he had killed, I think in the St. Valentine's Massacre or something. And they said, he was just bat crazy by that point because he was haunted in his cell. So that cell was really interesting. And it was, where all the cells were very stark. His had like some technically plush furniture in it and stuff. Like, it'd be the equivalent of putting some, millionaire or billionaire in jail today. Like they get a little bit of plush treatment. He got some special treatment there.
Instead of sleeping on cardboard, you get an old dusty lice-infested mattress. Better than a cardboard.
In the area, the doctor's area, like they had dentists and doctors and stuff, that area seemed quite active, because I think, so many people died there. If they got sick or whatever, that area seemed quite active. But it's there's nothing to me fearful about it. They're just, some of the earthbound ones are just kind of confused. And I'm like, you don't have to stay here. You can either leave today or you can wait and leave on your own time, but you don't have to stay. But there's quite a bit of earthbound activity there.
From earthbound to slightly earthbound, but in canine form. Susan Lynn, what's up with this dog? Tell me about Fido.
Her name is Zoe, and she is my spirit dog. And she doesn't register all spirits, because I'm a medium, right? So I'm giving readings. They don't bother her. I don't know why some spirits bother her, but right now, and how it happens is usually about right around dark, like 9 o'clock in the summer, she'll start panting and vibrating, literally vibrating, and panting and shaking. And that's how I know I have something in the house I need to get rid of. And so I'm new in this house, and sure enough, she starts doing it. So and I block, you know what I mean? I go around all the time blocked because I don't want to talk to these people. I don't got time to talk to all these people.
You can't walk around open 24/7. It would drive you crazy.
Not us, we can't. So I'm blocked. And so she's like my monitor. So when I looked here at this table I'm sitting at are this drunk guy who's abusive, and his wife, who was really like his common law wife, and he's screaming at her in my house. And so I just blocked it, right? So I was able to get her away from him a little bit, and I was on the phone actually with Medium Kim, And Kim and I actually popped her over. As soon as we got her away from him a little bit where she felt safe enough to run, she went. And then to get him to go, you have to find somebody that they'll go to, especially somebody cantankerous and ornery. So we found an uncle that was a lot like him. So the uncle came through with a fishing pole. I guess they used to like to fish together. And that got him. He almost went. He kind of left the house, but he didn't go all the way. Mm-hmm. So then I realized he liked motorcycles and he liked Harleys. So I'm like, here's a Harley, dude. Ride a Harley there. So once he saw the Harley, he got on the Harley and he was gone. But yeah, I have a dog that freaks out around certain kinds of spirits. So she lets me know that they're here and they're not good for us. You know what I mean?
That's amazing. What an invaluable little puppy.
It's interesting. I have 2 cats still, Lucy and Artie. Lucy, I have a spirit in my basement that comes and goes. He's not earthbound. My house was on the Underground Railroad at one time, so it's a former slave, and his name is Robert. Lucy loves to go down there when Robert's down there and talk to him. Artie will not. Artie doesn't care about spirits. When I'm doing personal readings, when I'm in mediumship mode, he doesn't come around. When I'm into the tarot and stuff, he comes around, but he doesn't like spirits.
Wow, it's so funny.
Yeah.
Shay, how has your kitty cat been since we crossed over Mr. Closet Man?
She actually ignored the closet, like she doesn't even deal with it, right? So if we had about a good week of peace, right? I'm telling you, girl, I was like sliding down the hallway, just take those away. I was just like, yes.
And then something happened again.
Well, now, so then there's another person. I feel like it's another person, but they don't bother me too much. They, you know what I'm saying? They don't want to piss me off. They're waiting. I feel like they're waiting for their right time. Like they're being respectful. So it's a much bigger change than the dude, right? So I'm okay with it. The cat stays in there now more than she stayed. Like she knows where they are, and like somebody when we came to start this talking, she was scratching at the front door, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like she never, she gets fixated on something, and so I was like, nope, we're not started yet. Officer, we're prepping.
Like even if you cross somebody over, they'll come back and visit. Like they'll tell you, like, I'm better now, stuff after they've been in the light for a while. Mm-hmm. They'll come back and visit sometimes. It's kind of interesting. It's almost like they come back to say thank you or something.
That's right. Yeah. I've had them come back and tell me thank you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry. It's like it's never ending, right? You think if I just solve this problem, I'll be okay. I'll be normal. It's always another time. You get that feeling of like, okay, whew. Maybe I was just crazy that time.
So tell us, because before we went live, Shay was telling us how she used to interpret spirit. Because Shay, tell us about how you use your gift.
Not how I use it, how it was using the heck out of me.
Okay, well, let's put it that way. How it was using and abusing.
Okay. So we know from Ghost Stories Part 3, we had an exorcism. Okay, so if you didn't watch that, you need to go back. Either one.
Sorry, I missed that.
It's part 3. Then come back and finish watching this. Okay, so all right. You know how in the church they'd be like, you gotta let the Holy Ghost fill you, right? Like I walked around open constantly, right? So let the Holy Ghost fill you or whatever, right? But what was happening was other people was just, I was just being taken over sometimes, kind of like a vessel. I was like walking around with a vessel without a lid on it. You know what I mean? And people just coming in and living their best life. And, to the point where I was like, am I like personality disorder or some kind of where, have split personality, multiple personality disorder? I mean, I went and got tested. Like, you don't know how many tests. They just couldn't find stuff. Right? I was like, I'm not crazy. I'm trying to tell y'all. Right? But I was like, well, I'm not going to tell y'all that because I'm not trying to wear like I love me jacket, right? So, but my daughter can give you a lot of stories because she would say like stuff that I would say to her. And like when 2020 was going around, a lot of stuff, people were walking in like in the first half, right when we first, like Marches, when we started having all these people dying, like people were walking in, and I was saying strange, different stuff, and I would say to my daughter, I'm like, that doesn't sound like me. I would never say anything. I don't even think like that, right? Or I grabbed her arm one day and I told her something about her scar, or I said, you used to didn't have scars, or like something. I said something to the effect about a scar on her skin and how it didn't used to be there, or something strange to that effect. And I'm just like, that's strange. That's suspicious. So mainly, my biggest task is keeping them out. And so when I was walking around open like that, people were thinking I was possessed, right? That's how I would actually tell people about their lives and tell them stuff and tell them scary stuff. Like I was scary, apparently. Like I didn't have any friends because I was scary or spooky or just weird kind of thing. Because I was having all these things happening. I would speak in tongues. I would like translate other people speaking in tongues, like weird stuff, right? However, but at that time, you guys, I was devout. I ministered in the church. You know what I'm saying? I taught classes. I started a women's organization in Japan that's still running to this day. Like, I did a lot of things for the love of Christ, right? And that was my thing, right? I was like, love. I just had this big compassion, this big thing about love. And I had, this was like before that. So in the church, these gifts are praised, in Pentecostal spheres and stuff like that, spiritualist spheres. But they don't teach you nothing about shielding or grounding or blocking, or you don't have to be a slave to this, because I was looking at it as like a fiction. I would read my Bible twice a year, straight through, twice a year. And I would just be like, I'm like, oh, Moses, every messenger of God is afflicted. Like, I would try to figure out like all these different things as to why this was happening, how Moses used to stutter, and, he was trying to talk his way out, but like, God, but I'm not pretty of speech, like he didn't speak. I can't speak to people. I can't, So I would just go through the Bible looking around for people that were like me, because I didn't have anybody that I knew. Like, everybody else was like, it's okay. Like, that's just God, and everybody's a little crazy that's touched by God. You're a little crazy because you can't handle it, or some craziness. But then when it got too spooky and too real, it was a demon.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's like a common fallacy. Everybody thinks every ghost is a demon. And it's like, no.
Right. It's not. So that's a good segue. How can you teach someone to tell the difference between a benign spirit or a spirit that may be presenting themselves as benign but may have some more malicious intent? How do you teach someone the difference? Do you guys know?
It's just a feeling and a knowing. Like I don't believe in the devil. To be honest, I don't believe in hell. I believe we create our own hell on earth when we, make our own traumas and stuff. I have never met a demon. I have met earthbound spirits that try to make you think they are. So like when I watch these ghost hunting shows, I'm like, they're just trying to make you think they're a demon, to try and scare you, to try and act like they're more powerful than they are. I've taken seminars also with James Van Praagh, the medium who wrote Talking to Heaven and a bunch of other books. He said the same thing. I have never met a demon. He doesn't believe in them either. I just don't believe in it. I just think it's spirits who are trying to play a game on you, a mental game and stuff. So,
what about you, Susan?
Well, I agree with Jen Lynn, and I think that, first of all, whether something doesn't feel good, right? I mean, a lot of us are empaths, intuitives, and we know, something doesn't feel good. You know what I mean? Or sometimes you live in your house and a friend comes over and the friend's like, I don't know, this place isn't feeling good. That's when you need to pay attention. Yeah. Because they may like you, or you may have gotten used to it, or whatever. So I think you need to pay attention. And, I just got rid of that guy that was the alcoholic abusive guy. And this is interesting too. It kind of goes along with what Shay was saying in a way. these ghosts and entities will they will impact your energy. They'll make you sad, or they'll make you angry. Well, for me, honestly, like, I like a good beer, maybe at night or something, but I'm like at noon, I'm like wanting a beer. I'm like, I don't want a beer at noon. I mean, it went on for 2 weeks while I was here. I was like, what is that? I don't drink during the day. I just can't, you know what I mean? Even at a cookout, like, I would have a headache at 3 and have to go home for 1 year. So it's just not me, right? But now it makes sense that this guy's energy, this alcoholic, angry energy, was in my house, and it was actually, it was kind of flavoring my personality. So you really have to be careful. You have to be aware, just like what Shay said. Hey, that's not me, or her daughter would say, that's not me. You need to pay attention to that, I think.
Yeah, I think you really have to pay attention to energy. Like, for me, like, the first house I bought was in Long Island. The first time I bought a house, I looked at 21 houses in 1 weekend. But there was one house, like, it wasn't a ghost. It was the current owner's energy. Like, I was like, oh, hell no. There was this sex addiction energy. And then, I felt it as soon as I went in the house. I'm like, oh, this energy in this house, there's an addiction issue. And then I go in the bedroom and there's mirrors everywhere. I'm like, oh, hell no, we're out of here. It's like, yeah. So you feel energy, whether it's from someone on the other side or somebody that's still living there,
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, babe?
I think it's, for me, okay, for a big portion of my life, because I had that blanket, that filter, that protection, because I walked so closely, because I was like a 4 or 3 a.m. getting up and praying in the dew hours type, on my face type. I was like, I wouldn't watch TV. But at that time, my psychic abilities was the strongest I ever had. You know what I mean? Like, when I filter, what I called it was guarding my eye, ear, and mouth gates, right? You know what I mean? And I truly believe that if you didn't guard those gates, you were going to have some problems. And so I think that knowing the difference was, I just looked to the Bible, like, you'll know a spirit by the spirit, question it, right? You know what I mean? And I start, I'll know, like, after a while, like, they might fool me for a minute, right? Because like I live with a disease and stuff, and so sometimes the pain is so great, but sometimes I gotta ask, I'm like, wait a minute, this pain is different, right? And I really have to sit there and meditate and discern whether is that me or somebody trying to get my attention, right? Is somebody trying to get my attention? And that's what's been evolving lately, because before it was just angelic speak. Like, all I talked was like some beings that were like peace, quiet, like they were, and that's where I wanted to stay. That was bliss, right? And then now all of a sudden it's like, I gotta deal with these folks here. I don't like people, right? Because I'm not. If people know me, I am a introvert with extrovert tendencies, right? So I like to hang around people that way. And I want you to go home. I want you to go home, right? Until I miss you again. Then I want you to come back, and then no, go back home, type thing. But I think you just have to kind of know yourself. And a lot of people don't know themselves or spend time with themselves to actually know themselves when
when your energy is normal.
Yeah, like something is wrong, right? And especially if you've been to the doctor and everything, and everybody's like, we can't really find nothing wrong with you.
Yeah, that's interesting, because like I find a lot of people, when they're starting to open up to mediumship and psychic abilities and stuff, you go through a period where you feel very isolated, and I feel like you're supposed to, because you're supposed to, learn to trust yourself and what you're getting, and you have those periods where you kind of feel a little bit isolated, but you don't feel lonely. It's like I'm meant to be a little bit isolated right now, because I'm energetically shifting and changing and raising my vibration to connect to spirit and stuff, and you go through these periods where you I don't know, from my point of view, feels like a lot of people go through that.
Very, very true.
That hermit stage, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the hermit.
And I can tell when something's getting ready to shift with me again, because I'll go through a period of, okay, I'm a little isolated right now. What am I supposed to be getting? What am I supposed to be learning?
Yeah. How do I tap in? Mm-hmm. Help me, guys. What are you wanting me to do? I always ask my guides, what is it that you're wanting me to do right now? Yeah. And how can I be of service? to you and to Mama Earth, to humans. Susan Lynn, tell us about the most disrespectful way a spirit has ever tried to get your attention.
Wow, disrespectful. They are disrespectful, and I talk to them out loud. I don't know why I need to feel the need to do that out loud, but I will yell at them, and I will have a whole conversation like, have some respect, have some boundaries. This is my house. I mean, I have this whole thing. I'm just like, going crazy. But disrespectful. The time that my ceiling fans all stopped working, and I'm in Houston. I need ceiling fans, and there were like 4 of them. And at first I thought, okay, it's the batteries. So I had to order special batteries. I ordered special batteries, and it didn't work. They didn't change. So then I convinced myself, because even though, I'm still looking for rational, practical reasons, right? So I convinced myself that I need to take the housing off the ceiling fan and change the frequency. Like all of a sudden the frequency got changed to something different. And I caught myself. I was like, wait just a darn minute, And then I was like, oh, hell no. I'm like, nope. Y'all are going to fix these ceiling fans. You're going to fix them right now. I am not playing. If this is my dad, I am telling you. If it's my brother, I went through everybody. Well, y'all, those fans were working the next day. See? All of them.
There you go. What you're not going to do in this house is mess
that
with
is disrespectful. There are rules. Do not move anything. Like, I don't need to be coming in here and seeing a chair float. I don't need to see that. I don't need to see you in person. Do not show up in full body. No, that's a no. I'm clairaudient, but I don't like it very much, because it's real. You go look into the house who just called your name. Yeah. And sometimes they breathe in my ear. No, that's not acceptable. No. Yeah.
Like, nope. Jen Lynn, funniest encounter as a medium. Most common one where you were just like, ha 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 ha.
Wow, I don't know. It's for me, it's more like I get a kick out of when I'm doing a personal reading, and I'm giving them the messages, and the person I'm reading for has the reading amnesia. Like they blank out and they can't make the connection, and I'm going on and on and on. And then like 2 weeks later, I get an email. Oh my gosh, I know who that. I'm like, write it down anyway. I'm like, write it down. It'll make sense later. Trust me, you're having amnesia right now. And you get those emails 2 weeks later, like, oh my gosh, I know who that was now. that cracks me up. That's like where I get the biggest ha-ha out of it, when I get those emails 2 or 3 weeks later and they figured it out. Spirit's funny. Like they say funny things, but for me, like my own guides, they crack me up sometimes how they'll put things to me. I can't. It happens all the time when we're doing like those Sunday night reads and stuff. And how things show up in the cards and stuff. They just crack me up sometimes, how they present different scenarios. But I don't know that I have a specific story. I have to think about that.
Keep thinking about it. We'll come back to you. Shay, piece of advice that you've heard, because I know you're clairsentient, right? And clairaudient as well.
Clairaudient and
clairaudient. Best advice you've heard from spirit or from as a medium.
The best advice that I heard, that I trust and put trust in every day to this day, and it's been almost 30 years, is that I was with an angel or somebody. It's an angel, but I don't know who. They were just tall and white. Like, it was tall. They were taller than me. And we were standing, it looked like a street light, but they were giving off, it was them. They were giving off the glow like a street light. It was total darkness. And we were standing next to each other. And it was tall, like a street lamp. And it was shining on me like a street lamp. So it was a small circle. We were inside of a small circle. And so I was just looking up, and I was just like, hi, okay. And I saw another circle of light down there. But I couldn't quite make out what was down there. Like, I was like, oh, what's that over there? And it was like, that's how it turns out. Right? I was like, oh, okay. Well, what's all this dark stuff? What's happening in this dark patch? He's like, what does it matter if you know how it's going to turn out? And to that, I revisit that so many times, and every decade in my life, it hit different.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? So what does it matter if you know where we are right now, and you know where you're going, how it's going to turn out for you in the light over there? What matters? What happens in this dark path? And it was a gap. It was a long behind gap. It was dark and dark. Like you couldn't see it. So
wow.
That was the best advice I ever got, was like, what does it matter what happens in this life when you know where you're starting and you know how it's going to turn out?
The alpha and the omega. Yeah,
Wow.
That's chills.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Oof. Tammy says that her youngest son sees ghost dogs in an old barn in Missouri. He said that the dog, when he talks about it, he said the dogs were feeding on the aura of the really bad, and he hated to go back to that bar. Are we sure he wasn't just drinking too much? It's like,
what else was in that barn?
yeah, it's crazy. Pamela was talking about how in her house she's got a trickster who turns the TV on in the middle of the night. She's had 2 readings since the last ghost story episode, like our last ghost stories, I believe she's saying. And she keeps saying 3 a.m. on the dot. She's awakened by a male vision. How can we, because there's always this proverb about 3 a.m. witching hour, something happens. What's some good advice for people who on the dot, they're waking up at a certain time to something? What are some ways we can help them combat that? And kind of deal with, because I know for me, I would teach people, if you're waking up at a certain time, start to notice the pattern. Start to write down, what are you feeling? What are you smelling? Are you touching something? Are you coming out of a dream? If you were, what was it? And I said, when you start getting more comfortable, ask questions out loud. Is it somebody? Is it a loved one? Are you here to tell me something? And start to kind of figure out and do that investigation. But do you guys have any other tips?
Because 99% of the time it is a departed loved one. And, for me, right off the bat, first time they woke me up in the middle of the night, I'm like, don't affect my beauty sleep. So it's like setting the boundaries and then connecting with them in the daytime. But they're doing things to get attention. So, Rosie, my ghost that I had in Long Island who moves with me, hearing footsteps overhead, or hearing a door close, or seeing the cats chasing her, or seeing like she moves something to somewhere else in the room, those kinds of things. It's her way of saying, I'm still here every now and then. I'm stopping in to say hello. And it's just to get attention. So if you say, I see you doing that, if you acknowledge them, I see you doing that, you don't have to do it at 3 a.m. It kind of sets the boundary and everything, but you're acknowledging, like, I get it. Telling them, make it more clear who you are. If you don't have clear audience and you can't pick up who it is, can you let me know who you are? And try to get more information from them. They can leave a picture, like if it's your grandfather, all of a sudden you've got a picture of your grandfather lying on the counter or something. They'll do things to let you know who it is.
Yes. Good point. Susan, you got something to add?
I agree with what you guys are saying. If they're waking you up at 3 a.m, it's because they can't get into you any other time. Mm-hmm. And once you start writing down their message, whatever it is, just groggily write it down, then they'll stop waking you up. Number one. Number two, make some time during the day for them to contact you, right? So meditate a little bit during the day, whether you're taking a walk or doing a hobby or listening to a guided meditation. Give them an opportunity to talk to you during the day so they don't have to wake you up at night.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, yeah.
Especially if you're just starting to open up to mediumship. If you haven't developed clearly your clairaudience and stuff, telling them, okay, I will tune into you and get the message. Because sometimes, like, I get messages for my neighbors, from their departed loved ones, and I run over and I deliver the message, and it's like, it's okay, just don't do it at 3 a.m. So if you're just starting to open up, it may be a way for you to practice being a medium and tuning in? Is the message for me, or is it for one of my friends? Is one of my friends' loved ones or something? Kind of starting to figure out who is the message for.
I'm going to quote Shay. I'm quoting you, girl, right in your face. Are you ready? As my beautiful friend Shay from Blissful Divination says, you don't have to catch me during my office hours, which are from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. If you do not catch me between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, you're going to have to come back the next day. What other shielding advice do you have, Shay? Because I that one always, because I hear it in your voice and it cracks me up.
No, for me, like I said, I'm ornery, right? I have a slick mouth. My mom used to tell me I have a slick mouth, right? So I have a slick mouth, and I just say, like, I'm disrespectful. I'm like, they be like, see, that's why she like that now. You know, that's the kind, that's me. So first thing I would say this, listen, though, because this is real stuff, right? First of all, you got to learn where you are in your circadian rhythms. First of all, you need to know, okay, are you up at 4 a.m. because you've trained yourself to poop at 4 a.m. now because you starting to eat a whole lot of vegetables? And, like, you got to make sure you rule out the regular bodily, physical stuff, right? So make those adjustments. Be like, okay, am I getting up? Why? Am I eating too late at night? Do I need to, like, cut it back? And just, it's like a lifelong, it takes so long to develop this stuff because it's like, you're constantly going through these lessons, like this training ground, and basically you're just dropping crumbs to other people as you go along because you're still trying to figure it out. So I would say if they're waking you up in the middle of the night after you've ruled out that it's not your adrenal glands and it's not the fiber that you eat, you just the regime you've just started or whatever, then I make it very, very clear. I am very good at tuning you out. I will, if I hear you, I don't hear you. I'm a pretend like I'm ignore you, right? I'm like the Rock, the silent game, and I know, there's my biggest thing. They know, do not sit on my bed. Do not come to my bed. Don't touch me. I don't want to open my eyes and see nobody's face all up in here because if that's going to happen, I'm going to blitzkrieg, double fist pump action. No. We getting it. We getting it. We're gonna fight up in here, and y'all don't want to make me angry. I will Bruce Banner on you.
Talking about.
I mean, it is a journey. It's like, I've been doing readings for almost 40 years. It's a journey. It's like every year I learn something new. My guides will give me a new symbol for something. If I have trouble getting a message about something, they'll give me new symbols all the time, and it's a constant. You're constantly learning. I hope I'm learning, till I'm in my 90s.
Yes,
that's the fun of it. It's like it's a journey. Enjoy it.
Yes, and I think we should talk to something because I think a lot of people might be wondering if they're waking up to their spiritual abilities, right? Because we said you might, if you are waking up, well, is this an indication that they are? Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If waking up at 3 a.m. when you haven't changed anything, you haven't changed your diet, you're not drinking more at night so that you have to get up and go to the bathroom or anything, is waking up at 3 a.m. perhaps an indication that you are waking up spiritually? What do you guys think?
I think there's other factors, but I think that could be one of them. I always tell people lucid dreaming is another one. Are you dreaming more? What are you dreaming? Are you waking up in the middle of the night? Even if you wake up in the morning and it's like you're in the middle of a sentence.
Yeah.
That could be because you were doing work during your sleep.
Yeah.
As part of your path and your journey. So there's so many. And don't just go on, y'all, for the love of everything. Stay off the TikTok, all these people talking about, if you see this at 2 o'clock,
don't get me started. I don't watch that.
Like, attuned to your psychic, because according to TikTok, everybody's a psychic medium. No. We all are intuitive, absolutely. But I think there's way more things that, and it, like Jen, I love what Jen said, it's cyclical. It comes and it's going to continue to build and morph in different ways.
To your point, you can be astral traveling in your sleep and working with your guides and doing stuff. One thing you may notice if you're astral traveling, I just had this discussion with Johnny last night from Tarot's Apprentice. If you ever in the middle of the night jerk awake, like you jerk, and then you're kind of like frozen, like a little bit paralyzed for a second, that's usually because you're coming back into your body with such a force that you jerk awake. And that's because you were astral traveling. So there's nothing to be afraid about that. You're just like connecting with your guides and your angels and stuff, probably in your sleep. You may be doing rescue work, in astral traveling. Like I was doing it in astral traveling long before I started doing it, here in physical reality as we know it as human beings.
Right.
But just kind of tuning into that, like, am I astral traveling? And I'm just, a lot of times you have no memory of what you did when you astral traveled. You just jerk awake and it's like, what was that?
Yeah. I think I started when I was 12, right? I used to have this silver coil. It was like the shower head. The shower head, that cord that's attached to the shower head you can take up and down and do stuff like that. It was thick, like a shower cord. And I was rising out of my body and I used to freak out because I could see my legs lying there. I see me in the bed laying there and I didn't know how to stop, and you just be like, and you keep going. And I was just going up through my house and I was like so scared. And what the funny thing about it was, so when you start doing it and I start looking at people and seeing things, and when it pulls you back, it's like a whoosh. It sounds like you go whoosh, and it has like a snap, and that's why you jerk, because it has that cord has like that snappy like thing, and you land in your bed like that. You ever do that? You start to rise out of your bed when you fall asleep, and all of a sudden you be like, you just fell.
We're more reachable, to your point, Adrian, when we're asleep and stuff. So if you're a person that has a hard time quieting your mind during the daytime, spirit will connect with you more when you're sleeping because you're shut up.
Yeah, that's right. I had the weirdest thing happen to me about a month ago. I woke up and I was in the weirdest position in bed, like really weird. And I knew something wasn't right. Like I felt like I had just fell in my bed and I was all crazy. And I woke up and I was like, what's wrong with me? And they said, you didn't get into position. I'm like, what position are you talking about? And they said, you got to get like this. They said, you got to come in like this for re-entry. And you didn't listen to us, which is a common theme. But anyway, they said, you didn't listen to us. So you just came in, wow, you just came in like whatever. So now, I gotta go to bed. I'm like, I'm ready. I'm gonna throw a muscle out or something doing this, y'all. Oh, come on. Ooh. So somebody needs to help me. Don't just let me fall in bed like that. Anyway.
You're supposed to be my guides. I thought we had each other's back. What happened?
Exactly.
Mine think I'm stupid. They think I'm stupid. Really, like I'm like that kid. You ever like have like a niece or a nephew that can't really talk yet, or they can, they just don't, and then like they always watching you though, everything you do, and they just be like, like the looks on their face, the conversations you could be having with this kid. It's kind of like their minds would just be like, she eating lead paint again. Get the chips out of her mouth. Eat lead paint, child. This is bullshit.
Day, I heard clear as day. I know it was spirit. I was about to do some real foul stuff. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and claim it. But I heard clear as day. There this heifer go again, about to do this stupid beep, 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 beep. Look at her. We told you. And I was like, yeah, I should have done that. They were like, I know.
I'm the 1970 something
about you
kid.
in the third person, like they started talking to me. Like now they're like, there she goes again. Her diet's blown. She blew that diet. I'm like, I'm right here. I can hear you.
Look at this. They said, look at this stupid heifer. There's watch her. She's about to do this stupid again. There she
I had to shut them up because my grandma and my mom and them, like I was living too much still with that. And I was like, nope. They just going to think I'm nasty. They gonna like the whatever. The kitchen and the bathroom, that's all I can vouch for, Whatever, y'all had a house. This is my house. Get out,
Why are you so
I want me to have a clean house. Send me the funds so I can have this maid housekeeper person come up in here and straighten this out.
That's right.
Why did you agree to be my spirit guide if you were going to be so judgmental? You knew me. We signed the soul contract before we even knew. You knew me. So why am I so judgmental?
You knew I wasn't going to wear no paints or bras. You knew. You already knew.
So why are you complaining?
Like in general.
So Rosemary says she would have a ghost that would run from the front of the store when it was always super loud. Of course, nothing ever showed up on cameras. Freaked my manager out. I told this story before, and I'm actually going. I know next time if we do another ghost stories, I will have more because I'm going to go visit my dad, whose house is very, very haunted, and it's amazing when you can hear them doing their own thing in your own house or wherever you are in some space, and you're like, that's kind of rude. Why didn't you invite me to the party? Like, like what's going on? Like, why are you so loud? Like, can you just stop that, please?
A lot of times, like if you have a pattern that they do over and over, like running from the front of the store to the back over and over, it's like a residual energy as opposed to an active ghosts that you can intelligent ghosts, they call them, where you can interact with them and talk to them. So you can kind of figure out like if it's residual energy because they do the same thing over and over and over around the same time of day and stuff, versus they do something a little different all the time, so therefore they're more of an intelligent spirit.
How do you get rid of residual energy?
Intention for me is everything. So number one, if we talked about this last time, if I hold that intention, my heart chakra really strong, and I put it out there, shielding the space and pushing it out, to me, that's number one in clearing. You can sage, you can do other things, you can use oils or whatever and crystals. But for me, intention is everything. Yeah, so if you set that intention out in your auric field and just push it out like to fill a room, it kind of clears it out anyway.
Yeah, I do Reiki house clearing. And basically it's the same thing that she says, but I'm using Reiki symbols and pressing them into the air and the walls and things like that. So because I'm a Reiki master, then that's what works for me. Like I resonate with that. So but beyond that, I sing. So when I do my meditation, I do kirtan style chanting. Because my brain too busy, y'all. I told y'all, they be like, that girl eating them paint chips. Like, that's how I do it, right? I'm able to access, I have to pick my brain. This body, girl, I don't know. I must have been some person like, I'm going to come into this body. This body going to be handicapped as I'm up. And I'm going to, like, I'm still going to do the damn thing, like, so, like, I had a chant to make my brain shut up and then, position myself and I do my chanting and stuff like that. And that's how I have established that time with them. So, and now I'm back to guarding my gates again, right? Because I'm cycling back up to that period of time in life. So, singing and dancing. Also, I raise energy by movement and dancing in my space too. So, singing, y'all, don't give up on singing. Like that's one of the good ones,
Very good one. There's a comment and I can't find it. I'm really sorry. Somebody in the chat, and I went to save it, and then we got more chats, and so now I can't find it again. She lost her dog, and she wants to know if you, oh my gosh, I can't remember the name. So I know you're still watching. Please tell us your doggy's name again. And I know she asked, and it was a woman. I think at least the name sounded feminine. If we could pick up the presence of her doggy who just passed. It was about, I think she said last week. So,
it passed away, or it
passed away, crossed over.
Crossed over.
So drop that in the comments again. Give us the name, and we will see if we can pick up your beloved animal. I can't find it, and I went to go save it. I am so sorry that I lost that comment. Keep them coming, guys. And then in the chat too, what questions do you have, or what other stories, things you want to bring up about some of y'all's experiences? Because every time I go back and read the additional comments after we do some of the stories that you all have are freaking amazing.
I know.
Like, dude, you a good one. You better than me. No, I would have taken off running down the street. So definitely
look at the one right now, Adrian Seascape at 6 or 7 years old.
Read it out.
she woke up to an older couple leaning over my bed, and I could tell you what they wore. I told my mom, and her mom said it was the couple that sold her the house.
Wow.
She described them, and then her mom said that's the couple that sold her the house. They just popped in to say, hey,
you like it?
But I love that. I love that this person was able to see ghosts looking at them when they were a little kid and not be freaked out by it, because that stuff freaked me out when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. That's one of the reasons why I didn't really accept my mediumship, is because ghosts were always trying to talk to me. And I mean, I'm an introvert. I don't talk to strangers anyway, much less ghost strangers, you know?
I barely talk to people I know. So you
I know, right? For real.
You know?
I was an only child, so I talked to them, right? And like I told you, walking around just open all the time, just all the time, talk. Maybe that's why I'm like people doubt. Like people say, how can you spend so much time alone? Because y'all don't know I ain't never alone.
Right. I have to go back to the person that lost a dog, and pardon me because I am not open on Mondays because I don't do readings on Mondays, so I'm just kind of doing this a little bit on the fly. But I get that the dog was quite friendly, like gravitated to people a lot and made friends easily, like even with other dogs. Was very sick before passing. They're telling me that they're all healed now. They're sending their love to you. Interesting. I love. I pull cards with spirit when I do this, but notice the dog, on the full card. I feel like it was a smaller dog, like smaller to medium. It wasn't a big dog, but it's on a new journey now. It was their time to go, so there was nothing you could do to prolong their life. So let that go if you're feeling guilty. Like, what if I done this? What if I done that? They're communicating with a man quite a bit. So if you have a man in the house, they are talking to them quite a bit. The dog was also quite psychic. The dog would pick up on, like, if you were upset or if you were happy or whatever, the dog would pick up on that. But he's quite persistent. He's persistent with a man. I don't know if the man is paying attention though. There's something new coming for you, new sign that they are going to do something in the material world to let you know they're okay on the other side. So watch for a physical sign in the material world of something that they did, like leaving one of their toys somewhere where you see it, something physical. They're going to be doing something. Sorry, I'm just kind of channeling them for a minute. There's also a man on the other side that's deceased, human form that they're with. So I feel kind of like grandfather energy that met the dog on the other side. They're holding them. But they're on their journey. They're happy. They're doing fine. I don't know why. I keep hearing the name Charlie or something, CH.
It was Wanda. She said her dog's name is Wanda.
I'm hearing Charlie, so I don't know if that's the male that got her or something. I keep hearing the name Charlie.
Thank you for
Charles or Charlie, something like that.
Thank you, Jinlin, for doing that.
I had a question for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's one that I always wonder about. Like, okay, we all have an aspect of the same types of gifts, right? And I think that, like, it's interesting. How did you guys know what you were supposed to be doing? Like, for me, they tell me stuff. They don't give me, because they know me. I will talk trash the whole time. Like, I'm on a need-to-know basis, basically. That's how I'm getting treated out here in these spiritual streets. And so, like, they told me I'm supposed to be a bridge. Because they know I'd probably be like, oh, no, heck to the no, right? So, I'm supposed to be a bridge, right? So, I'm just like, But here I do, like, I question spirit and help people through reading cards and stuff like that. And part of me is like, okay, that's like not the purpose, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to, like, they know to keep me on a need-to-know basis. So I want to know how you guys know. I don't know how it'll manifest. I don't know how it's all going to come out. It's like that dark space in between that circle of time. So I told them, that's your problems. I'm on a need-to-know basis. I like being kept in the dark a little bit, just because y'all know I'll get scared like a mug and shut it all down.
Susan and Jen.
That's me. That's me. They've been telling me what I'm doing next year, and I'm like, no, I do not need to know. That freaks me out. I don't need to know that. I'm like, wait, what month? May? This 2021, y'all. Stop talking about next year.
Right.
I don't need to know. Because I will. I'll mess it up. I'll get freaked out, and then my free will come in. And then what happens is when your free will comes in, it doesn't mean you're not going to do what they want you to do. It just means that it's going to be delayed. So, I would rather, I'm on a need to know basis too. Like, keep it simple. Don't freak me out.
Yes.
Jen?
I've never really been afraid of anything. So I have my boundaries. I've never been afraid. When I opened up, I've always been intrigued by psychics, intrigued by metaphysics, and reading, going and getting readings from psychics, doing my own readings, reading books. What else is out there? What other types of gifts can I explore that maybe I haven't opened up to? So learning healing energy work, opening my mediumship, learning tarot. It all just keeps layering up and stuff, and I'm still on the journey. So I've always kind of known. I guess the biggest kicker for me was when I got laid off in 2017. That was my big, you need to be doing this full time. Get out of corporate America, do this full time. And I just was at peace with it. It's like, okay, yeah, I got a little nervous at first. Like, am I going to be able to do this full time and pay my mortgage payment and stuff? But I was like, okay, I'm going to trust the process. The clients will come, and I'll have enough clients that I won't have to go back into corporate America, and I'll be doing something that I love to do full time. So it was just surrendering to the process, and bringing that grace with you when you surrender. And it's like allowing divine order to happen. It's like when you open up to saying, I'm okay with this, and I want to keep exploring this, and I love this, and you open up to divine order, the universe just makes everything happen.
That's true.
I have a
that is true.
I tell my clients when they say I don't know, or anybody, not just clients, anybody. This was taught to me. So it's like, I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know. Change that to say I'm in the unknown. Because saying I'm in the unknowing means I'm still on a journey and on a process, and that it's this freeing and opening up to, I am accepting what comes in. When you say I don't know, there's just hard, definite moment. But when you say I'm in the unknowing, it's this, I release my control, my attachment to the outcome, and I now welcome it and I surrender and accept it come in.
Yeah. And when you name the fear, it's easier to release it. Like, if you don't name the fear, you kind of always bury it, inside. So, I was afraid I'm not going to be able to make a living at doing readings full time. I named the fear, and then I was like, I am financially abundant. I am more clients than I can possibly read for. And now I have over 1,000 emails in my inbox, and I'd be booked out a year if I would catch up on my emails. It's like, so you name the fear, face it, and then you just open up to it. And I've got angel tingles on that. Somebody in the chat needed to hear that.
And my thing for me is not a fear of I'm going to see something or whatever. Because like I tell you guys, every time that I'm going through the stuff, it's not scary. It's just me taking care of business. However, when I step back into my flesh, right? When I'm in my spirit, man, there's no fear. However, but when I recede back into this flesh that's, it has its own wants, desires, addictions. Like, I'm here to master that lesson too, right? So for me, it was finding a balance of making this flesh submit to my will, right? Because a lot of people's flesh are imposing its will on them. It is a biological place. It has a system. It has a function. However, it is like a machine. It has, if you don't keep it clean, if you don't keep it running healthy, if you don't work it out, take it out, and do all those types of things, then that will start to deteriorate faster than you're ready to vacate it. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's not so much that, it was me staying in my flesh and say I don't wanna, right? Because this flesh is hard. The flesh I chose, is hard, right? And so for me, it was like, I'm gonna mess it up, right? I don't want to mess it up. Like, I don't want to, my perfectionist or something. Like, I could see the perfection in my mind. Like, they show me a picture, and me trying to make it be that was, I would mess it up, right? So that's how I was like, I don't want to need to know basics. Don't give me no grand scheme, chandeliers and diamond type stuff, and then expect me to come up with an idea how to make this happen. Because shoot, I'm trying to figure out how to tie my shoe properly. You know what I mean? I go for the day to tie this shoe without pain. So I think that I amaze myself, and that's how I know that it's not so much in me, because it's the fear. Like I think I don't, like, I've never met a demon. Like you say too. I don't like, I know that there's entities and I know that there's beings, but I had a name for them as demons, but they never were like scary to me, like you see on TV. You know what I mean? They were more like blobs of snot or blackguard tongue being like weird. They never looked like what you would see on TV, like they make you to seem. So I think that for me, I fear that I'll be unable to accomplish the vision that they gave me. So now I'm in that process of surrender where I'm like, okay, I don't give a crap. Y'all say this was going to be, I believe it. Okay, then make it happen. Number one, I'm detached from the outcome of this. I'm going to continue doing day to day. Y'all know I'm good at that. I'm living in the moment, and it'll let it unfold. Kind of.
You have to detach from how they bring it.
Yes.
That's like when I do personal readings, a lot of times I'll do manifesting candles with someone I'm reading for if they're trying to manifest something in their life. I'm like, okay, now let it go. Don't have this preconception of how they're going to bring it to you. Just trust the process and surrender it, and wait for the universe to bring it. So it's really a lot of fun, I think, when people are manifesting something and they're surprised at how easy it is to manifest.
Oh, yes. Like we do it.
This got into a whole metaphysical conversation instead of ghosts.
It's beautiful. I love it, my beautiful vacant friends.
A couple things I want to do very quickly. Number one, thank you, Angel, for the super chat. That was very sweet of you. Rose had a question. She lost her husband recently, and she wants to know if he has a message for her. I'm wondering how recently he passed, because for some reason I'm not picking him up yet.
Yeah, for me, like, if it's only been a couple of months, it's hard for me to connect to them, but then I'll like ask somebody else that's with him if they'll pass the information along.
Because it was
recently departed, like, is they don't know how to lower their vibration to match mine. I'm raising mine, they're lowering theirs to match it, and they can't do that when they're recently departed. So I'm just gonna see if anybody else will.
Rose, was it a heart attack?
What's his name? Can you tell us his name as well?
Yeah, was it a heart attack? And tell us his name.
Because there's a lot of people in chat that have people that have crossed over, so we're going to have to weed through them. It's easier if I have a name.
Yeah.
And I'm so sorry for your loss.
That's tough. So yes, it was a heart attack. And Carlos. Yeah. Yeah, because I saw the heart attack.
Feeling high blood pressure. Like I feel like high blood pressure.
My chest is tight, and I feel it going up.
Yeah. Carlos. I feel like he's smiling. I feel like he's got a smile on his face.
He's resting, I know that much. I see him finally. Was he a workaholic, or did he work a lot? Because right now, as he's transitioning, he's like, I see him kind of going, whew, I can rest now.
Who worked in construction? Was it him or someone with him? I'm getting a sense of somebody that was good with their hands, worked in construction.
Worked a lot. Worked a lot.
Or was a fixer. He worked with his hands, like maybe he fixed things up a lot.
Right. Yeah, he was a guy that could fix anything. Like
his dad. She said his dad.
His dad was that?
Yeah, his dad was the person who worked with his hands.
And who had the addiction problem?
Ooh.
Whether drinking or drugs, somebody had an addiction problem that he fought with some.
I see.
She's saying yes, but I don't know if that's.
Is it like
yes? He had an addiction. Both.
Or one of the children or something.
Both. She said he had an addiction problem. Both. Yes.
Yeah. He's better now. He's quite content where he is. He's sorry about what he put you through with the addiction issues. He is still adapting on the other side, so he's still healing, is what I'm getting. He's got a lot of family around him, a lot. He feels like he was being foolish with the addiction issues. So.
He also knows that as he's transitioning, he's seeing how his addiction directly contributes to his early death. Yeah. He's working through some of that guilt because he does feel there's this. I can see I left you too soon.
Yeah, he didn't think it was serious. You know, he really thought it was fun and games. You know what I mean? Like he didn't realize this could happen. This wasn't something.
Did she say how long he's been gone? Because I feel like it was
April 19th.
A month.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like his dad was telling me more. I don't feel like it was him.
Yeah, I'm just.
It was coming through someone else on the other side. I don't feel like it was a direct.
It's not him telling me. I'm getting snippets.
Didn't he have a good smile? I just see a really nice smile, and I see not a big guy, you know, maybe 5'8", 5'9". I don't know if that's. But anyway, he's it's like everybody says, he's fine. Of course, he misses you, and he sends his love to everybody. But he's okay.
Yes, he can, Rose. He can hear you. He can't talk back to you, so that's the part that he's trying to adjust and learn how to.
He can see you.
Remember the good times. Learn from the times that felt, I hate to use the word bad, but more negative. What did you learn from it? As an experience, what did you learn from it? Let it go. Remember the more beautiful times and the good times you had.
He's showing me roses. I don't know if he ever gave you roses or flowers, but I feel like, sometimes he could be really gallant, you know what I mean? Like really gentlemanly in a way, and sweet.
Who's got the birthday coming up? Because I feel like he's also saying happy birthday to somebody.
Oh, maybe so. Maybe that's what the roses are about. Right. Or an anniversary or something, right?
Yeah, I feel like.
I'm so sorry, Rose. It's terrible. I'm so sorry for your loss. It's horrible to lose someone like that. It's just horrible. Nothing can prepare you for it. Nothing.
I think it's also interesting too.
Oh, it's her birthday? It's your birthday, Rose?
Your birthday. Okay.
44 years.
Have a happy birthday. I know it's
so sorry, dear.
Time. Try to find a way to celebrate you on that day and everything that's special about you. It's very difficult to celebrate a birthday when you're grieving. So try, even if it's just a friend you get together with for lunch or something, try to do something for yourself that day and put the grief aside for a day if you can.
Yeah.
I think he would enjoy seeing you celebrate. He's celebrating with you on the other side.
I was gonna say, he's going to try to find a way to contact you or do something to get your attention on your birthday. So
I agree.
Pay attention.
I agree. He's kissing your cheek.
Yeah.
I have to step away for a minute because I've been drinking so much tea. I now have to take a little pee break. I'll be right back.
I just want to call out too. I think it's very interesting that Sin Fenty Lizard, I hope I said your name right. She's like, you guys may be channeling my brother. He had a certain heart attack at 44, worked drywall, and had addiction issues.
Oh my gosh.
That's interesting.
Wow.
Too. Shay, you had pulled cards or got something, so I just want to make sure that you added.
Well, no, they were talking about. See, okay, this is why I don't do this stuff off the cuff, right? Because they be telling people business, right? And I didn't want to be saying nothing that don't need it wasn't relevant to it. They were just telling me the business stuff, and I was just like, I ain't saying that. Like, I am not gonna say that. But also, so then they said, okay. Then they started like going like this to the shoulders, like rubbing my shoulders, and then so I feel like he was like this kind of person, or
right,
standing behind her, like just in the shoulder,
sweet.
like
Sweet guy, right?
Very
sweet, you know.
And then I'm like, okay, so
yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, T. Jones just said I saw him kissing away her tears. He just is a sweet guy, but man, you know, addiction is terrible.
And guys, if we don't get to your comment or your question, please don't hold it against us. There's so many coming in. So just bear with us. We're going to try to get to things that we can. And also, if we can't read or pull up a loved one.
Yeah, sometimes like
sorry. We're sorry. This is taking we're getting them as we can get them. So thank you guys for bringing your questions and your comments, and very interesting.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. I got the break. Oh, my bad.
Go ahead.
I have a story to tell y'all, right? That I wanted to share, but I didn't get a chance to share last time. Actually, it's a story that happened to me, but it's a story that my grandmother used to tell me. Mm-hmm. Okay, so my grandmother and my grandfather, my mother's people are from South Carolina, and so every year we would make the pilgrimage back home, and every time they lived out in the country, like across from cotton fields type stuff. And we would be driving at night, and we always seemed to like, I guess they would just drive us down from Jersey all the way down to South Carolina, and when they get off work or something like that. So it would always be night. We would always be getting there like 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. And my grandmother used to always tell these stories about haints, right? And how when she was a girl, and there would be dead cows floating out there, and dead old slave people, like people walking down the roads at night, but the cows with no heads and stuff. And then I'd be like, like for me, right? And because all of a sudden, no fail, the devil down in Georgia, because he was looking for a soul to steal, would come on a radio, and I would just be like, I hate it here.
Oh my God.
As we down the road and cross the fields, that these dead cows with no heads and ghost old-timey people. She said old-timey people, ghostly, the one with the bonnets and the pigtail, like the old people that used to wear like bonnets. Like back in the day, I guess girls wore bonnets or something like that on their head. I don't know why, for sun or whatever, but and they would always have those little dresses, like those dresses made out of that cheap, thin, cottony material.
Yes.
Like with an apron, like I want to feel like it's like an apron or something, but it's plaid, the kind that they wear like those black boots with, those little black boots. So it would be like these old-timey people dressed like that, enslaved people. My grandma used to just be telling these stories, and I said she was not joking. Like this is like the quiet, everybody half sleep, slobbering sleep, driving down. And I'm like up because I can't sleep because I'm just like this in the car, like I hate it here, like and then she just feels the need to tell me the story about the dead cows to like a 6 or 7 year old.
Shade, I know one of the first stories Susan Lynn and when Susan and I did this, I told the story. Did I ever tell you the story about the headless soldier that showed up at my great grandmother's front door?
That is the craziest story. That is a story.
Yeah. You did tell us that one.
Yeah. It's just like when you were telling that about the thing, I was like, that reminds me.
Well, you got to tell it now because maybe people haven't heard it.
My great grandmother lives in the middle of Mississippi, she's dead now, but lived in the middle of nowhere in Mississippi called Phoebe, Mississippi. Don't ask where it is, outside of Starksville. It's in the middle of nowhere. Even to this day, there's like
she lived in the sticks.
Yes, the sticks is actually metropolitan compared to my great grandmother
Dang.
house. So back when my grandfather was in the Korean War, he was serving the Korean War. And I think I'm pretty sure she was psychic medium or something. It was just a bad severe thunderstorm. So she hears a knock at the door, and she's like, who's knocking at the door? Who's out in this kind of weather? And she goes to open the door, and there's a soldier in uniform, but beheaded, head missing. So she is screaming, and she's like, oh my God. And she's calling my great grandfather, and she's like, Al, come here. And he goes and he sees it too. And then it just turns and like walks and leaves. And you see the thunder and the lightning and everything. And she's freaking out, and she's thinking, oh my God, is my son dead? Like, she's thinking like it was a messenger to come tell her that my grandfather died. So the next day she gets a letter from my grandfather, and it said, hey, Mom and Dad, I'm doing fine. Can you do me a favor? The guy that one of his friends that he went to war with, he had just gotten killed and he had been beheaded. And the timing adds up. It would have been like the day before or something like that. So it was actually my grandfather's friend, the beheaded soldier that was coming, and made himself known because my grandfather wanted my grandmother to go check on his family.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of brings up something else I wanted to mention. Children are very perceptive, with spirits, and they see them, and spirits will a lot of times show you what they look like when they died. So if they died a bloody, horrible death, sometimes, I tell them, don't show me what you look like then. And if there's a child they're affecting, I tell them, don't present yourself that way. You're scaring the child. And I know that's not your intention. Try to show what you were like, when you were whole and healthy, and don't keep showing the gory stuff because you're scaring people.
Mm-hmm. Somebody asked a question in the chat too. They see angelic like form, but doesn't see the angel's face. Is that normal? And I say yes.
If you ever see Archangel Sandalphon, he is huge. He is so tall. He is huge, and you'll see just a foot. Sandal, the foot. So a lot of times when Sandalphon's around me, I just see a giant foot in a sandal.
Yeah. I saw another question. Hold on, that I wanted to get to. Y'all can chit and chat while I go back and scroll up and find this question.
I like the angelics. I like talking to them the best. Like the peace. Like I don't know that. Like that peace. I've never known a peace like that. Like I don't care about none of them. Take me with you. Like can we go now? Type of thing. And I like talking to them. It's quiet. It's peaceful. You don't see much. I don't never see much. It's always, like I said, they're giving off the light of the light, and so they just talk and they tell me stuff, or I see their face but I don't remember it. Like I can see their face but I can't tell you what it looked like, if that sounds really strange, right? I can't describe it. I can't.
Do you ladies feel like trying to touch in on one more loved one?
Sure.
Well, you're challenging me since I haven't opened up today.
Kathy N says her sister Donna passed away in January. She thinks she may be hampered by guilt and shame for various reasons, which she really doesn't need to feel. She did her best. She wants to know, is her sister at peace?
Well, of course she's at peace. I mean, the first thing we should say is they're all at peace. I mean, I feel everyone is mostly at peace. But I feel, did she have a sense of humor? I feel like there were times when she could have a sense of humor, or laugh. Maybe not, she wasn't funny, but she would laugh and kind of cover her mouth or laugh at things. I don't think she was always happy-go-lucky. You know what I mean? I think she had a bit of a hard life, but I think in the good memories, she wants to show you the laughter, the fun. I don't know if that makes any sense or if I'm picking up on somebody else. Anybody else got something?
I have a tightness in my chest, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I feel like her ego may have gotten in her way sometimes too. It was a little bit of an immaturity there in how to deal with her ego. She's telling me she is healing. She's like, this takes time, the healing. She thought of you as like her best friend. But she's saying like when you were children, like there was a lot of fighting going on, that there would have been a lot of bickering and arguing and that kind of stuff when you were children. She's transitioning through that. She's at peace. She's quite content. Anyone that goes into the light, they find that peace. She's with a man. This would have been like a businessman when he was here on Earth. I feel like he met her. She's got a circle of support around her. She has unfinished work that she didn't finish here on Earth. She is doing it on the other side. So there are things that she knew she could not do here that she will help from the other side with. So watch for her to give you signs that she's helping you from the other side. They can't affect our free will, but they can call our attention to things and do things to help us from the other side.
Shay, what are you getting?
That man that you were speaking about, I feel like he was either a love relationship or her significant other or something. Like there's a love there with that person. Yeah, mainly the only thing that stuck out, because I pulled it, but the only thing that stuck out to me was this man, the man or the person that you were speaking of, because she's sitting there with a man, and it's near the heart, and
Could it be her father, Shay?
Well, it could be whoever loves her. Like it's a love person,
right,
it's a love person that loves her, or she loves them because she's knighting it, the heart, and the veil is right next to the heart, so they came by to get her. So,
yeah.
So he came.
Is it your father? Do you think, Kathy?
Either that, or I wonder if he was just a little older. He could have been her partner in some way, but maybe a little older. He was more serious. I feel like she didn't have a great self-esteem. I don't think she had the best self-esteem.
That's why ego tends to get in the way a lot of times, is their self-esteem isn't strong.
Well, she's knighting, she's knighting burdens.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
She was carrying some type of burden or cross or.
Okay, so there goes Kathy. Kathy says that she thinks it's their dad. Yeah, I think it's dad, and but she's fine. She's healing. You know what I mean? She's healing. She's going through some.
She's reflecting, a lot of reflecting, and a lot of how do I make it right in spirit world.
Who's the John or J name that would be with her on the other side, like John or Joe? I'm getting a J name, like John.
Or Jason. John. Jonathan.
John Jacob Jingleheimer. Jones.
A lot of times, like if I don't hear the name clearly, I'll just see him draw the letter in the air to get me to the right letter.
Uncle Jack.
Uncle Jack.
Jack. Okay. She's with him.
Okay.
She drew a big J in the air.
I think there's a little dog. Are you guys seeing a little dog over there too? I feel like I'm seeing a little. Oh, and she had a dear friend named Jack too.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know that dog is hers, but he's there and he's little. I don't know.
Like a little. I don't know why I keep seeing the Wizard of Oz, like Toto.
Yeah.
Toto.
What, small dog?
Yeah.
I feel like she is reflecting and she's thinking about, like because she's knighting like addictions or like some things that she was knighting. So
Yes.
she's some burdens.
Yes.
That's what I feel. I physically feel the I don't want to say guilt and shame because you kind of work through that, but her working through in angelic form some of the issues she had in human form, and kind of looking at them going, why if I could have had the knowledge I have now,
Right. Right.
I would have done that to myself. I wouldn't have felt that way.
Right. Right. There's a lot of heart hurt. Like I feel like
chest is all, and it's in my throat chakra as well.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
she needed to say and wanted to say.
She didn't talk. Yeah.
She's very new. Like it's you know, it might take her a minute to sift through the thoughts and drop the rest of that ego and stuff. You know, like it's just gonna probably take a little bit. You know, because right now she's reflecting on it. Like that's her block right now. She's getting knowledge, right? She's being enlightened right now. Now that she's on the other side of the veil, and that's she's learning.
I don't do like personal readings usually on YouTube because it's like doing parties. Like I start getting bombarded. That's one of the main reasons I don't do it, as well as this is what I do for a living, so I don't usually do free readings on YouTube. But I'm picking up someone coming in that was murdered, that was shot. Is there someone in chat that has a loved one that was murdered?
Yikes.
Because they all start bombarding me when I've got a large group of people.
Yep. That's why I get people's names, because I
need the name.
I mean, you got to sift through 10 people to find the one person they want to talk to. I just get their name and call that person up. Oh, Kathy. Yeah, I think she had a beautiful heart, but I think she also had a lot of heartache.
Barb, you had someone that was shot a long time ago? Your cousin, okay. I'm hearing Bill or Billy or like William, but like went by Bill or Billy. I don't know if that's him or someone he's with.
Beverly said her sister was murdered. I don't see a woman. I see a man.
I see a man, and I'm getting the name Bill or Billy, but that may be who he's with.
It's an Asian male.
He's just saying hi. He just like came in and he just wants to let you know he's okay. I feel like maybe that was a kind of unresolved murder that your dad just passed away. His name was William. Okay, so he's with your dad. I feel like it was kind of unresolved. Like even if they caught somebody, like they didn't get enough time or something, he's okay with that. Let it go. Don't worry about that.
Are you seeing somebody with dark hair, Jen? Or Shay, were you seeing somebody with dark hair?
It was me. I saw it's a Caucasian male, kind of like darker sandy blonde hair. Not like brown dark, but not blonde. About like 5'8", 5'9", maybe 5'10" at the tallest. Was probably mid-30s, maybe 40s. That's how I'm seeing him.
Look at how many William Billies there are in the chat.
And that's another reason, like you start seeing other spirits jumping in, the me too, that happened to me too, and then it starts getting confusing. It's like, okay, never solved. Thank you, T-Barb. Never solved. Yeah.
Okay.
Let it go. I don't think it ever will be.
Yeah.
I'm fine. I was having a painful moment. It was just,
Aww.
pain was cutting through. I wasn't able to focus on nothing. I was worrying about my own self for a second.
Oh.
I must have had a crazy look on my face. My bad.
No, your camera was blurring in and out.
Oh, was it?
Somebody said, yeah, and they said Jen.
I had a pain in my back. Like I had a pain in my side. Like come all of a sudden, I thought it was my own stuff. See, that's what happens, right? I'm like, my camera was blurry. What?
I was expecting people to talk about their ghost stories, and we ended up going on a
On
video.
meeting.
This was not at all what was planned, but I think that's what makes it kind of cool is that we just rode with it and took it the way that it showed up.
Yep.
I'm not even going to try point. Wait, I'm going to try pointing again.
T-Barb, I have to go back to T-Barb for a second.
Okay.
He's giving me chills across my back. He's hugging you. So if
Oh.
you're feeling tingles across your back, he's hugging you.
Oh.
I just want to. I just want to end with just a couple of notes of gratitude. It takes a lot to open yourself up and to do this on the fly. So Susan, Jen, and Shay, thank you so much for doing this for the community. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thanks. It's always so much fun to talk with you guys. It was so nice to meet you finally, Susan. I've been dying
I
to meet
know,
you.
right?
I've been watching your videos. I'm like, oh, she so resonates with me. I got to meet her.
Thank you, Jen Lynn. Same here with me. Who knew we're sisters from another mister?
Probably.
We're going to make everybody Lynn's. It's
Everybody's
the new
going to be
thing.
Lynn's.
Look, it's Artie Lynn.
I'm gonna
Oh,
be
yeah.
Adrian Lynn.
Shay Lynn.
Lynn.
Actually, Shay Lynn is pretty. Shay.
Yeah.
Hey, Lynn, that's pretty. I like
Join
that.
us, y'all. Join us.
I want to thank everybody, all the super chatters, the moderators, all of you guys who opened yourself and made you vulnerable to share your experience. Thank you so very much. Sending you all healing energy, especially those of us who we connected with your loved ones. May you feel peace and healing, not just tonight, but going forward in the grieving process. Each one of you ladies, do you have anything you want to say as we part?
I just want to thank those that we did read for that, readings can get very personal. And, when you're talking about addictions and stuff, and to be honest and validate for us what we were getting, I appreciate that a lot because you're in a public forum doing that. Every family has dirty laundry. Every family's got it. Mine has it. Every family has, some things that they try to hide or sweep under the rug a little bit. But I just want to thank those that let us bring up some things that can be very personal.
Yes. We all struggle. We have that flesh.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Susan, my original Ghostbuster.
I just want to say thanks to you guys for having me. It's great to be with all of you guys, and thanks to everybody that showed up to participate in the chat. I just thought this was a blast.
Thank you all so very much. Peace, love, and light to each and every one of you. Take care of yourselves, guys. Okay?
Thank you, Adrian.
Thank you all. Have a good night, guys.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.